Hey everyone, Bree here. Today I just wanted to offer a quick hip opening flow. As for me, my hips are always pretty tight and cranky, and especially the other day, I just had a pretty intense leg day. So I noticed, I could use some nice hip opening stretches. So we'll first start by arriving in the body. If you want to grab a pillow or a bolster to sit up on and use during our practice to help support you in some of the shapes and positions, you can go ahead and do that. It can help lift the hips up, which helps sit the pelvis forward and create more length in the spine. And so we'll take a moment just to arrive. If it feels okay, closing the eyes down or softening the gaze. And palms can be down or up. And just begin to turn your attention inward. Taking a slow, long, deep inhale. And an even longer exhale. Inhaling gently. And exhaling, allowing the body to arrive. And maybe just noticing areas of tightness in the body. Maybe because you clicked on this video, it is particularly your hips. And also remembering this interconnectedness of our body and ourselves. How when one thing is maybe off, it can affect many other things. Another full round of breath. Really inhale, expanding the body. And exhale, softening. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and open the eyes. And if you're sitting up on a prop, you can move that aside and we'll meet in tabletop position. So coming onto all fours, spreading fingers nice and wide, hips stacked over the knees, and just start to take any natural organic movement that starts to feel good and wake up the body. So maybe a little sway side to side, or finding some barrel rolls, or even creating little figure eights in the body. So just taking a little wiggle, a little time to explore and feel in. And then we'll move into pigeon pose. So we'll bring the right shin up towards the top of the mat. And contrary to popular belief, it does not have to be parallel to the top of the mat. So a couple options here. You can take pigeon or deer pose. So deer pose, both knees are bent and it's more of like a 90-degree angle. With pigeon, you'll be extending that back leg long behind you. So taking a moment to figure out what feels good in your hips. It also depends on how open and flexible your hips currently are, and just assessing on a moment and day-to-day basis. So settling in, maybe coming up onto the left hip. And what we're gonna do is just fold the torso over that front leg. So maybe you'd like to bring a prop to rest your arms or your head on. And so on your exhale, begin to lower yourself down, folding yourself over that front leg. And just finding your way into pigeon or deer pose, whichever you prefer. And seeing what happens when you either rest the forearms or the hands down and pull the heart center forward. Maybe noticing a different sensation in the body. And just take some long, deliberate breaths here, really sending the breath to the hips, providing some love and nourishment. And with every exhale, see if you can release a little bit deeper. One or two more rounds of breath here as we open up into this left side. Inhale, start to stack the spine, lifting yourself up, and then rotate on the hips. We're going to bring that left foot in towards the pelvis. Right leg extends long. So coming into a wide-legged Janu Shirshasana. And we're going to lean over towards the right. So a little bit of a lateral stretch. So on an exhale, begin to tilt yourself over towards the right and maybe leaving that left hand on the left thigh and pressing it down and away. This can help create some traction in the low back and that left hip flexor there. And this right hand can be wherever you'd like. Maybe it's on the mat, maybe it's on the leg. Finding a place that is sustainable. And sometimes this, when I place my hand here and press it away, it helps me spiral the heart open. So even finding some opening in the chest here, relaxing the shoulders down. Finding some ease with the breath. And so often, if we have tension in the hips or some tightness in the low back, the two go hand in hand. There's actually tendons and ligaments connected to the psoas muscle, which is located in the front of the hips, the pelvis. And so just going back to how everything is connected and can be affected by one another if something is shifted or something's off. So we can target more than one space in the body. And let the inhale lift you up. Exhale, take a gentle twist. Right hand comes to left knee. The left hand plants. Staying here for one round of breath. Finding length. And then on your next exhale, we're going to lift up into stargazer. So pressing down through that right foot and the left shin, hips go up towards the sky, arms sweeps up overhead, and finding stargazer. This one always feels really good in my body. Not only is it a nice front body opener, but I really feel it in both hip flexors. And exhale, sit the hips back down, and we'll find table on the other side. So you bring in your prop along with you to the other side. Take a moment to find your neutral table, settling in, and then maybe a couple wiggles and swiggles in the body, just to meet ourselves where we're at on this side. And then we'll go ahead and bring the right shin up towards the top of the mat and either extending that left leg long behind or keeping a nice juicy bend in that knee and finding deer pose. So your variation, your choice, maybe bringing a prop in front to rest your arms down. So sitting up on that right hip this time, inhale, finding length, and then exhale, start to fold the torso over that front shin. And just taking a moment to find your way and settle in. Feel free to adjust and move around. It doesn't have to be static. And maybe exploring with pressing the forearms or the hands down and drawing that heart forward. And noticing if that changes the intensity of the stretch. Sending big breath to big sensation. Couple more rounds of breath here. Welcoming any hums or sighs, as those can be especially nice for activating our parasympathetic nervous system that allows us to fully relax and deepen into the stretch. And on your next inhale, begin to slowly lift yourself up, stacking vertebrae by vertebrae. And then we'll pivot on the hip, bring that right foot in towards the pelvis, extend that left leg long, and placing the right hand on the right thigh, and then begin to lean over towards the left. You're welcome to bring a prop over here too to help give some more space and opening. So really getting long on both sides of the body and pressing that right thigh away, maybe spiraling the heart up. And just breathing here, letting your breath flow naturally. I've been doing a lot of barbell bench squats, which are newer to me. They always intimidated me, but I've been getting more familiar and more comfortable with them, and they are fantastic at working the quads and the glutes, as you may imagine. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling it today. I think it's like day 2 or day 3 post leg day. So usually the second day is like really peak for me. Inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, take a gentle twist. Maybe left hand comes to right knee and right fingertips can plant behind. Rotating yourself towards the right. Breathing in. Exhale, empty. This time we'll start to lift the hips up, pressing down through that left heel and the right shin. Maybe arms swoops up overhead, coming into stargazer. Big opening in the front body, sending the breath to the hip flexors. And exhale, release, coming down. And we'll make our way into double pigeon or fire log pose. So a couple options here. We'll start with the left leg extended long. Maybe I'll sit this way so it's easier for you to see. So option here, left leg extends long. right ankle over left thigh, and maybe placing the hands down, finding some length here. This might feel good. Maybe even folding forward. And then there's also the option for double pigeon. So you'll stack the legs on top of one another. So a visualization that I always hear that I kind of like is imagine putting a flip flop, that you're trying to put a flip flop on this right top foot. So you want the foot just off the knee so you can slide that flip flop on. And so taking your variation of this hip opener, and again, maybe you stay upright and this is good here. And another option is to fold forward. So usually when I fold forward, that intensifies this stretch for me. So just taking a moment to explore what feels good in your body. And maybe noticing how the sensation changes if you keep the feet flexed. I know that always keeps it pretty active and pretty fiery for me. And just breathing deeply, letting the breath flow to all the spaces of the body, creating opening. One more full round of breath in. Exhale fully. Inhale, lift yourself up. Go ahead and unravel the legs, bend the knees, plant both feet on the ground, just windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And then we'll do that on the other side. So coming into your variation, maybe right leg extends long and left ankle comes over the right thigh, and option to stay upright or fold forward. Or coming into double pigeon where the right leg is underneath this time, left ankle on top. Imagine sliding that flip-flop on. I wish I could be putting flip-flops on right now. I'm pretty over the cold already, and we're only in January, so I got a ways to go. Staying hopeful. So taking a moment to settle in and knowing that you're probably different on this side, as we aren't always as symmetrical as we might think, and doing what feels most sustainable on this side of the body. So I know my left hip is always a lot more tighter than my right side. And so I tend to need to adjust and be a little gentler on that side. Slow, steady breaths. Maybe inviting that hum or a sigh out the mouth as you exhale. And on your next inhale, if you're not lifted up already, go ahead and do so. And we'll unwind the legs, plant the feet on the ground, and just windshield wiper the legs once more. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together, finding Baddha Konasana. butterfly pose. And I find for myself, the closer I bring my feet in towards my pelvis, the more of a hip opener I get. So again, just play around with that. So on an inhale, we're rooting down through both sit bones, knees are wide, soles of the feet together, finding length in the spine. And then exhale, start to fold yourself forward. Maybe forearms are resting on the calves or the inner thighs. And exploring with maybe keeping yourself upright a little bit, finding some engagement here as you pull the heart forward, finding length in the spine, the back of the neck, reaching through the crown of the head. Or even rounding forward, letting yourself be heavy. Letting everything pour out. And your next inhale lifts you up. And then we'll begin to lower ourselves down onto the mat. So coming down onto your backs, bringing knees into chest, hugging them in, maybe a slight rock from side to side. And then we'll come into one more stretch. It's one of my favorites. We'll extend both legs long, reaching towards the sky. And then bend the right knee. We're going to get ourselves into a bit of a twisted pretzel position. So bend the right knee, take the left hand, grab for the top of the right foot, and gently lower the right knee down. So the right foot is close to your left glute. If you're not able to hang on to the foot, that's okay. You can release it. And then bend the left knee, right hand grabs for in front of the shin. So maybe feeling a nice intense stretch here in the right hip flexor as the right foot is pulled towards the glute. Really finding some opening here. And relaxing the shoulders down towards the ground. Maybe finding some length in the back of the neck. Releasing any tension in the jaw. And just sending your breath to where you feel the most sensation in the body. Letting yourself be held by the earth. Another round or two of breath here. And then go ahead and release that left knee and bring it over towards the right. So kind of stacking the knees if that's comfortable. And then we'll come into a gentle twist. So maybe arms go long out in a T and chest stays open as the knees drop towards the right. And then we'll release out of the twist, coming back to center, maybe shifting the hips. And then extend legs long overhead towards the ceiling. And we'll do that on the other side. So first, bending the left knee, grabbing for the top of the left foot, and then lowering that left knee, left leg down. Even already here, I feel this in my left hip. And then bend the right knee, left hand grabs for the shin. And so pulling that left foot in towards the glutes. And just nice steady breath here. Maybe making your exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. Allowing yourself to fully soften into this pose. And maybe observing the difference between each side. Seeing if you can relax both shoulders down towards the ground. They don't necessarily have to be touching, just going in that direction. One more full round of breath here. And then release the right knee on top of the left. And we'll take that gentle twist. Maybe arms go long. And both knees are dropped over towards the left. And then when you're ready, we will meet in a seated position. So maybe rolling over to the left and pressing yourself up and coming to a seat. And we'll take 3 rounds of breath together to close out. So maybe hands resting on the thighs. And inhale here. Exhale, release. Inhale. And exhale, let it go. Once more, inhale fully. And exhale, empty out. Bringing hands to heart center, closing out our practice, sealing it with thanks and gratitude. I hope that these stretches provided some benefit to you. Let me know in the comments below. And I look forward to practicing with you somewhere on your mat. Namaste.